Okay, so last week we left off in the middle of a shtickle Torah, and I said to be continued, and I meant what I said. So here I am. Okay, so we left off with the Shittas HaChinuch that he says that the lav of Lifnei Iver is a lav she'ein by Maisa, and therefore you don't get malchus, which means that it's a lav that does not necessarily include a Maisa in it. You don't need to do it a Maisa. Explain very shortly. And therefore, there's no malchus lav she'ein by Maisa in Loikin. It's a Yesod Musa that we all know, lav she'ein by Maisa in Loikin. So the Tmiyah on that is that we all know the Gemara says, Gemara Psachim, the Gemara Nazir, and probably a bunch of other places, but I know what I know, that the lav of Lifnei Iver is only when it's Trei Avri Dinara. Trei Avri Dinara is where you have a Nazir on one side of the river, and you have a Kois Yayin on the other side of the river, and the Nazir can't get to the Kois Yayin, and somebody gives it to him. So it's Trei Avri Dinara, it's two sides of the river, so the Avera of the Nazir drinking the wine, and I'm giving him the Echatimta to do that Avera, that's when I'm over on Lifnei Iver, this Shlav of Lifnei Iver that we spoke about, this drash of Lifnei Iver, that it's enabling somebody to do an Avera. Mm-hmm. So L'chaira, the lav of Lifnei Iver, of this prat of Lifnei Iver, the one that's giving somebody, enabling somebody to do an Avera, is only with a Maisa. Not it could be done with a Maisa, it could be done without a Maisa. It's with a Maisa only. So how could the Chinuch say that the reason why it's a loike is because it's a lav she'ein by Maisa? This was the shayla that we left off. So we started saying based on a Tosfos in Nazir on Daf Yud Zayin, where Tosfos is Ksakasha about the Nazir in the Beis HaKvaros, that the Gemara says that if he's Nazir and he's in the Beis HaKvaros, he says already Nazir, and they want him to leave, that if he doesn't leave, he gets Malchus. So Frek Tosfos, it's a lav she'ein by Maisa, and Tosfos answers what he answers, that the not going out for some reason is considered a Maisa, and that's based on a Tosfos in Shavuos that says the same thing, and a Gemara in Makos, which that's not the discussion today. What we wanted to bring from there was that there was a Rav Bitzalel Ranchberg on the bottom, who's Mitzayin, a Magid Mishnah in Hilchos Schiris, Perek Yud Gimel, by the lav of Chasima. And the Magid Mishnah over there says that the halacha of lav she'ein by Maisa ein loikin is when you have a lav, if you could do it through a Maisa and not through a Maisa, so since you could do it through a Maisa also, Zok the Magid Mishnah, the Shittas Rambam is that it becomes a lav sheyesh by Maisa. Since you could do it with a Maisa, so Mamela it's nechshav, it has the chashivus, it has the strongness of a lav sheyesh by Maisa, because you could do it with a Maisa, and Mamela it's loika, and that's how the Rabbi Tzal Ranchberg wants to explain that Gemara over there, that since a Nazir in the Beis HaKvaros, he could be over with a Maisa. So even though now he's being over without a Maisa, but it's considered a lav sheyesh by Maisa. This is what Rabbi Tzal Ranchberg wants to bring over there. So we wanted to say, using this Yesod, but inverting it and going exactly the opposite, we wanted to say that you could say the same thing for the Chinuch. That the Chinuch holds that when you have a lav, that you could do it with a Maisa, and you could do it without a Maisa. So the fact that you could do it without a Maisa, that weakens the lav. The same way the Magid Mishnah was saying that if you could do it with a Maisa, you could do it without a Maisa. So that makes it that it's not a lav she'ein by Maisa, it's a lav sheyesh by Maisa because you could do it with a Maisa. So the Chinuch holds fakert that because you could do it also without a Maisa, then it classifies the lav as a lav she'ein by Maisa, because this lav is a weaker lav, because you could do the lav without doing a Maisa. So this is what we wanted to be matzia, using this system, that you could classify the lav as one side or the other through the fact that you could do it the other way. So we found such a yesod in the Maggid Mishnah, and we wanted to use it for the Sefer HaChinuch. We had a raya from this to the Sefer HaChinuch, because the Sefer HaChinuch says in the lav of Lo Simkru Mimkeres Ovid, which is in next week's parsha, it says over there that you're not allowed to bring up a Eved Ivri on the Eved HaMekach, on the Eved HaToyin, and sell him that way, because it's a prisus, it's a bizayon to bring him up and put him on the auction block on top of a stone and set him up and then put him up for sale. So the Sefer Chinuch says that you don't get malchus for this. It's a lav she'ein b'maisa. He said, you put him up there, but the fact that he could go by himself, so Mamela, even though you put him there, but Zok the Chinuch, this is called a lav she'ein b'maisa, because you didn't have to put him there; he could have done it himself. So Mamela, it's classified as a lav she'ein b'maisa. So this is what we want to do matzia for the shita of the chinuch. The problem is that the Shara Melech was written by Reb Yitzchak ben Reb Moshe Nunez Belmanti. He lived in the 1700s in Salonika. Shara Melech is a steer in the chinuch. That the chinuch in the mitzvah of Bal Yirah Bal Yimatzeh. So he says the same lashon that the Rambam says in Hilchos Chametz U'Matzah, that even though Bal Yirah is a lav she'ein by Maisa, Bal Yirah means if you had chametz on Pesach and you left it in your rishus, so you're Iver, that you're not allowed to see, you're not allowed to find chametz in your house. Bal Yirah Bal Yimatzeh. Normally that's done without a Maisa. Just have it, and you didn't get rid of it, but you just have it. Zok the Rambam and the Sefer Chinuch holds it says, well, but if you bought chametz on Pesach, or you were machmid something biyadayim, zok the chinuch that you like it. Before Rambam and the Sefer HaChinuch, that if you machmitz it biyadayim, or if you buy chametz on Pesach, then you get malchus. If you hold that the Sefer HaChinuch holds that if you could do it without a ma'aser, so then you don't get malchus. So over here, the lav by Rabbi Matzi, you definitely do it without a ma'aser. Most of the time you do it without a ma'aser. But still, the Sefer Chinuch holds, Frek the Shara Melech, that when you do it with a ma'aser, you get malchus. So you see that this is not the pshat in the Chinuch. The Sefer the Shara Melech. So, Shara Melech answers the Geshmak Yisai. And he says that Avada, the Yisai that we said before in the Sefer Chinuch, is Avada Emes, that you could classify the lav as a lav she'ein by ma'aser. But that's only if, l'mashal, the case where you have the mimkeres ovid, you have the eved for sale. So you could sell the eved downstairs, you could sell him upstairs on the Eved HaMekach, on the Eved HaToyin, or you could go up himself. So over there, you could do the lav. You can actually be over this lav this second in this mekach without a ma'aser, and you could do it with a ma'aser. So since you could do the lav now with and without a ma'aser, that's a klishus, it's a weakness in the lav, and the melo, that's considered a lav she'ein b'ma'aser. Because this lav that I'm doing right now, I could do it with or without a ma'aser. That constitutes a weakness in the lav. The melo, it's a lav she'ein b'ma'aser, they ain't like it. Masha'enkin chametz, zok the Shara Melech, by chametz, what am I doing? What's the avera that I'm doing now? I'm having chametz, but I don't have chametz. So how am I going to get chametz now? How am I going to have a Bal Yirah with this ma'aser of buying chametz? That's the only way for me to be over on chametz if I don't have chametz. The only way for me to have chametz, if I don't have chametz, is to do a ma'aser. So in those situations, zok the Shara Melech, that this is considered a lav sheyesh by ma'aser. Good? No. Okay. So now we're back to...
Even though it's only a lav sheyesh by ma'aser if you do the ma'aser.
It's a lav she'ein by ma'aser in all other cases. But when you do the ma'aser, it's a lav sheyesh by ma'aser. That's what the Shara Melech says, that in this case, since the actual lav can only be done in this situation that I'm in. So the maisa is what enables the lav to happen. So then it's considered a lav sheyesh by maisa. So according to this, so now we're back to the problem that we had. That what's the pshat in the Sefer HaChinuch that this is called a lav she'ein by maisa, but by nazir, by Lifnei Iver, the only way for this nazir to get this wine is by doing the maisa. So then we're back to the problem, because based on this yisod of the Shar Melech, it should be classified when you do it with the maisa. Trei Avid and Hara is mechayiv that the Shar Melech's yisod applies here too. That since the only way for me to do it is with a maisa, now the only way for the nazir to get the yayin is the Lifnei Iver with the maisa. So then the Lifnei Iver in this situation should be considered a lav sheyesh b'maisa. Now there are some achronim that say that Trei Avid and Hara is not as one-dimensional as mashmoti as it sounds. It doesn't really mean that you can't get it even if you bring it to him and he could have gotten it. So according to those, maybe it's not as shver, because you could say that it doesn't mean mamish exactly that you have to do a maisa. Maybe it could be done without a maisa. But Pashup Pshat and Trei Avid and Hara is that you have to do a maisa in order to enable the avera. And Oivazoi, according to the Shar Melech, it's tzirik shver, it's back shver, that lemaisa we have. Why does the Chinuch say that this is considered a lav she'ein by maisa? So the Stei Chemed wants to stel to a chakira from the Sefer Yad Malachi. The Sefer Yad Malachi was written by Rav Malachi Cohen, who the Rabbi Shaya Pick, who wrote the Mesares HaShas, the Gilyonis on the side, there's Mitzayin from all over. Anytime you find the Gemara anywhere that's quoted on the side, he said it. So he wrote, the Chidor writes in Sefer Shem Agdolim, the Chidor writes that Rabbi Shaya Pick wrote on the Yad Malachi, loy, with a vav, loy, to him, nitno Torah l'Malachi Hashoris. To him, the Torah is given to Malachi, my servant. So that's what the Chidah brings down on this Marechet of Marechet Yad Malachi, on this Sefer. Loid nitna Torah l'Malachi Hashoris. So anyway, so the Yad Malachi says like this. He says, Nistapku b'limud hayeshiv. Heicha shehanazir lo yishasa oisa kol shel yayin. What happens if the nazir does not drink the cup? So here you have a nazir. He's sitting on one side of the river, and you have me on the other side of the river. The wine is with me. The nazir wants to drink the wine. He can't get to it, and I bring it to him. So I was over Lifnei Iver l'sitei michshol, or I'm only over on Lifnei Iver if he drinks the wine. But let's say he decides he doesn't want to drink it. So very nice, I put the michshol there, but Maisa, he wasn't over, and if he wasn't over, I'm not over. So he says, Nistapku, believe it hayeshiva, heicha shenazir, l'shasa oisei kois, ika avram oishet mishum Lifnei Iver l'sitei michshol or loy. Do you say that he was over or not? Minema, do we say, kivan de l'nichshelu, so, ha'ashato l'mikri michshol, since he wasn't over, so I didn't put a michshol there. A michshol is only if you stumble. If you didn't stumble, it's not a michshol. Or do you say that no, that the Torah was makbid on the Torah was makbid? We're getting it. The Torah was makbid on the sima. Lo yisite michshol. Don't put the michshol. So what was the Torah makbid on? Now, based on something else that we said last week, you could be masber this chakira a little bit deeper, but the idea is that do you say that the avera is don't put a stumbling block, don't give him a bad eitzah, don't give him a michshol to stumble over, or no? That the way Rabbi Chanan is masber it, Rabbi Chanan in Kavitz Haaretz, he brings down the Shittas HaMeiri that the Meiri holds that when you have a Lifnei Iver on the Gimel Chamuris, on Avodah Zarah Generah Shvichas Damim, so the Meiri holds that the Lifnei Iver is also Yarek Val Yava. Because Rabbi Chanan is masber that the Lifnei Iver becomes a chelik of that mitzvah, of that avera itself. I mean, it's just like that person is not allowed to bow down to Avodah Zarah. That person's not allowed to be megala that ever whatever Aver it is. Avodah Zarah shvichas dam is not allowed to kill. So I'm not allowed to put a michshol for him to do that Avera, because when he does it, my part of it becomes a sniff to his Avera. It becomes a chelik of his Avera. So the Torah is not only makbid that he shouldn't do that Avera, the Torah is also makbid that I shouldn't enable that Avera. And it's a chelik of that Avera. It's like an abizrayu of it. It's like we once said.
Messiah.
I'm staying far away from that word. No, because Messiah is a whole different piece.
He said if he does it.
Yeah.
If he
So if he does it, so if he does the Avera, so then what's his Torah's makbid? Like we said last week, a type of svara that Rabbi Yaakov says that it becomes a chelik of that Avera itself. Not only does the Torah say that he shouldn't do that Avera, the Torah also says I shouldn't give him the hechatim to do that Avera. It becomes part of that Avera. It's like the idea that we have where there's a Privalski that says that Maris Ayin on Avodah Zarah is also Yariv al Yavah, because it becomes the Avizrayu of that Zach. So the same type of idea. The Lifnei Iver becomes a chelik of the other Avera. It's a B'nadam Lamakim, not a type of idea where you have don't give him a bad eitzah, don't stumble him, don't let him get a boo boo, don't help him do an Avera. That it's between you and him. No. This is part of the Avera that he shouldn't do. So if he doesn't do it, then you don't get an Avera. That's the Chakir of the Yad Malachi. So he brings a riot, one riot to each tzad, and we could talk about this probably for a very, very long time with riots back and forth. I'll just bring you to two basic riots that he says. The first riot he brings is from a Gemara in Moed Katan, that the Gemara says over there that Amsa de Rebbe, the Meitzim of the Rebbe, saw this person that was hitting his son, a gadol, and she said this person should be in Cherem. What does Rashi says over there? Why with the Lifnei Iver? Since he's a gadol, so if you're hitting him, he may hit back. He may get angry and he may hit back. So if he hits his father, he's going to be over an Avera. So Amelo, you're over on Lifnei Iver because you put him in that situation where he may hit back. So you see very clearly, it doesn't say that he hit him back and you're over Lifnei Iver. See, he may hit back. So just putting him into that matzav where he may do the Avera, enabling him, getting him angry, whatever it is, where he may do the Avera, that's already enough to be called the Yorver and Lifnei Iver. So that's the riot to one side. And the riot to the other side is a Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara says over there that, I can't remember who it was, second. Rav Huna? Yeah. Rav Huna kara shiroi ba'abei Rabba bread. Rav Huna ripped a silk in front of his son. He says, I want to see if he's going to get angry. So the Gemara is, maybe he's going to get angry and he'll be over on Lifnei Iver. So you see over there that not because maybe he's going to get angry. If he gets angry, then he'll be over on Lifnei Iver. So you see very clearly that from that Gemara Al Kapanim, they brings it right the other side. They only over on Lifnei Iver if he actually does the Aver. This is the Tut Stadim that the Yad Malachi brings down. This is Meforsam, every sefer that talks about the Avera of Lifnei Iver brings down this Yad Malachi, and this is the Chakir. So based on this Chakir, Zoktes Techemed, that if you say, like Rabbi Tzvi was saying before, if you say that you're not over the Avera until the guy does it, so then you bringing him the Hechatimtza of doing the Avera is only like a hechsher. It's only a hechsher Avera, because the Avera is only his asiyah. So Melo, your Maisa, even though it was a Maisa, and the only way for him to do the Avera is with a Maisa, but the Maisa, nothing really happened until he actually did it, and by then your Maisa is already done with. So Melo, he says always, every single time that a person is over on Lifnei Iver, it's always going to be a lav she'ein by Maisa. Now, since last week I ended 2 minutes late, this week I'm ending 2 minutes early. That's the only way to make it up.